You're all set to begin.
Good morning, everyone. We are at the town manager public meeting on green burials. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. It's not approximately 9 a.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely via the Zoom link that was posted. With us, we have Joe Marshall, Dan Santos, Kate Conley, and myself, Andy Clyburn. I'll be chairing today's meeting. The town manager office held a public meeting on May 10th to discuss the proposed regulations. The public comment period was then held open through 9 June. And now we are here today to review all of the comments that were received and recommendations to finalize the green burial regulations. So with that, I'll jump right into the comments that we've received. The first comment was, I feel like the memorial markers for the proposed green burial area in Mosswood Cemetery should be allowed to be larger. These grave spaces are larger than normal, and they are proposing the markers to be smaller than normal. In my opinion, they should be able to be at least the size that Mosswood currently allows. I am open to hear any reasons or explanations why they are being proposed to be smaller, and if you would like my opinions why I think they should at least be allowed to be the same size. I'm happy to share that with you. So, Joe, what do you think?
And can I just add that, excuse me, that comment came in from a Kimberly Mackey Smith on May 19th.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, who sells stones for cemeteries.
Correct. So, Joe, is there any reason, should we be considering to keep it consistent? Was there a specific reason that we're going smaller than what's currently offered there?
Yes, sir. So the 12 by 12 markers that were proposed are in line with other green burial cemeteries. Green burial lots are, in our case as well, are meant for one person, one individual to be buried. We feel that a 12 by 12 is sufficient for a name and date. The larger stones that we allow at other sections of the cemetery are 24 by 12. But we also allow up to 3 burials per lot. So you will need a larger stone to add multiple names. In the case of the green burial, it's a single individual, a single lot.
Okay. So your recommendation would be to keep the proposed regulation as the 12 by 12 marker?
That is correct.
Okay. Dan?
I concur.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I would concur as well. So moving on to the second comment received from Lauren Peruzzi on May 27th. Disagree with the use of any embalming fluids as they are not conducive to green burial at all. That's part one. And then part two was, since Jewish folks need to be in the ground within 24 hours, it is extremely prejudicial to require a 48-hour notice. So let's take those one at a time. First, as to the embalming fluid, I believe that the regulations already have provisions in there that we are using. Paragraph 16 and 17, toxic chemicals such as formaldehyde are not allowed. Embalming bodies must use a non-toxic Green Burial Council approved fluid. Is that your understanding, Joe and Dan, that addresses that? Correct me if I'm wrong, we're not requiring the use of any fluid, correct? So if this were for some religious or other reason that they did not want embalming fluid, we're not requiring the use of it. It's simply, if they choose to use it, they have to use the Green Council approved method, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, most people are going to want to do that because bodies start to degrade pretty quickly, and it can be pretty unpleasant for those that are in the vicinity. And families may not even want to deal with that unless, the body's kept on ice until very shortly before the burial, but that's up to them.
Correct.
So.
And that is correct. is if you choose not to embalm and you're not having a viewing, you don't have to. You can be buried without.
Correct. All right. I think that covers the first part of that comment. The second part, since Jewish folks need to be in the ground within 24 hours, it is extremely prejudicial to require a 48-hour notice. I know paragraph 3 is where we state in general, funerals must be scheduled 48 hours in advance by contacting the cemetery office. And then again, later in the document, paragraph 23 towards the end, we again say a minimum of 48-hour notice is required for preparing a grave for interment. Joe, is this something that we could take a look at? And I'd welcome Kate's thoughts as well. Is there a way that we could? We're certainly not trying to preclude anyone from using this, but
Yeah, we already faced this.
yeah,
We have Jewish people that get buried, and our current regs say what they do. We accommodate them.
right.
And so however we'll continue to accommodate them, or you could put maybe an additional sentence on there that
Yeah.
says in particular circumstances, we can waive this requirement or something, but we do that now. Right, Joe?
Excellent.
Yes,
I think if I can just weigh in, I agree with that, Dan. And also the language of the first section already says in general. So
Yeah.
we're not requiring that everybody, that gives us the leeway on that section. And then where it shows up again further down, we could just add in, I'm just looking for that paragraph, where it says a minimum of 48 hours notice where possible. And obviously cemeteries already, when people purchase these lots in advance, they can give sort of a heads up to the cemetery that you may not be getting notice with respect to this one. And then obviously you're not going to know when the time comes to bury that particular person, and you're not going to get a lot of notice. But it sounds like Cemetery Commission and the individual cemeteries, including Mosswood, are already used to having to move quickly in certain circumstances.
Okay.
Certain lots. So I think we're good. So again, we already have the in general in the paragraph 3 and paragraph 24. That's what it is. Just a minimum of 20. I'm sorry, where it says a minimum of 48-hour notice is required, comma, I'd add where possible, comma, for preparing a grave for interment.
I think that's perfect. Do you gentlemen agree?
Yes.
yes.
Excellent. Okay. We'll move along to the next comment. On the 26th of May, an ANCA, I apologize, Lassapoulos, submitted a comment. I congratulate the town of Barnstable for having such a thoughtful and environmentally sane plan for green burials. My mind is at much greater ease now about my death. I had intended to be cremated, but cremation, while better than a traditional burial, is still very eco-unfriendly procedure. Again, thanks for being so forward-looking. I don't think we need to have much discussion on that. Pat yourself on the back, Mr. Marshall. And then our final comment received was on the 6th of June from a Russell P. Camp. I support the creation of green burial site in Mosswood Cemetery in Katuitt. It's commendable that the town of Barnstable is at the forefront of this movement. It's estimated that more than 60,000 tons of steel and 4.8 million gallons of embalming fluid are buried each year. A green burial with biodegradable material preserves the land and the environment. Green burials put things under people's control without the use of chemicals or metal casket liners. Kudos to the town of Barnstable. Again, I don't think that requires much discussion. And that was it. That concludes all the comments. It sounds like we're in agreement with the small tweaks. We can have Kate make those tweaks and distribute. And unless Joe or Dan, do you have anything further to add?
I do not.
All right.
Nope.
Great. So Attorney Conley will make the small tweaks, distribute, and then we'll do our best to put the regulations in place as soon as practical.
Right, we didn't take an official vote. You did ask if they were in agreement. I don't vote, I just advise.
Right.
And so they said they were in agreement. Dan and Joe said they were in agreement. So that's all we need to do. I'll make the changes and circulate them.
Excellent. Thanks all.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Everyone.